Hey everyone, we're 7-9 Media and we're back with the second installment of Recasting the Classics. I know last time we said we were going to do Casablanca. That was a lie. We were doing Mary Poppins instead. So we're taken back to y'all's childhoods and recasting Mary Poppins with different people of color and who we can imagine could be really interesting in that role if we were casted today. So yeah, let's just dive right in. So for Mary Poppins, I had two options. One was Renee Elise Goldsberry from Hamilton. I just feel like she has that like presence to where she could like keep children in line, but also be like really fun and magical. And obviously she can sing. And then my other choice is, I'm gonna butcher her last name. Don't know how to say it. Stephanie Shum from Everywhere All at Once. Yeah, also Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Yeah, I just saw Everything Everywhere All at Once last weekend, so that's why she came to mind. But yeah, I just want to see her in more stuff, and I know she can do comedy, so she can definitely handle that part. And she looked amazing in every outfit she was wearing in that movie, so she'd be great in whatever outfit they put her in for Mary Poppins.
For Mary Poppins, I picked Lea Salonga and Audra McDonald. Lea Salonga, I just adore, and I want to see her in this type of role. I think Lea Salonga would be good. I also feel like she always plays like these really serious roles, and so I want her to be in a more like lighthearted, like kind of fun role, and so I think she could be a really good choice. And then Audra McDonald, I just but I just like saw a video of her in
a musical?
Yeah, Carousel. Yeah. Well, like when she was younger, she was in Carousel musical, and she was like so sweet and so like fun, and so I feel like she would do a good job in this role too. The people I picked, I realized, are a little bit like older than like, I think Mary Poppins is supposed to be in like her 20s, right? But like, so maybe they're like a little bit past, whatever, but I don't care. I think they'd both be great.
I'm not saying it's a cop-out because obviously she's incredible and amazing and talented. However, I was just like, okay, when I thought of Mary Poppins, I think the first thing that comes is like elegance. Like, yeah, she's fun. Yeah, she has this like comedic timing, but it's still with so much grace and elegance. So of course, how could I miss Gemma Chan? I think her as Mary Poppins would be so good. Also, her in that hat, like, come on, like that's so good. Other choice, also going back to Hamilton, is Philippa Sue. I think, because I remembered also, it's technically a musical, which I didn't actually account for basically for any other character, so we're gonna ignore that. But I think Philippa Sue, I think she has that same elegance and like the motherly presence, I think, is kind of where I went more with her. And obviously she pulls off Blue really well, so how can you go wrong with that?
First is Justin Min, and then I have Harry Shum Jr. Just because, I mean, for Harry Shum Jr., I can just imagine him like dancing around all the like street poles and lights and doing that whole, can't remember the name of the song, but the chimney sweep song thing. And then for Justin Min, I just like him.
I put Harry Shum Jr. as well. I also agree, same reasons. He's a good dancer. I also think he has that like carefree. Don't know if he can pull off that Cockney accent though, but like maybe.
Van Dyke couldn't, so it doesn't really matter.
That's also true. Wow, that's so true. So that'll be great. And then I also put Anthony Ramos. I think like he might be kind of fun in this role. And yeah, I think they could be like, I don't know, because he just want to see him in like a fun, carefree, like kind of kids role. Not kids role, but like more like family friendly, like Disney role, if that makes sense. Because I think we just haven't seen him there.
So I think we basically decided if they ever do Mary Poppins with a full Asian cast, Harry Shum Jr. will be Bert, because that is also he was my first for who I thought of. I think the word that came to mind when I was thinking about casting Bert was charisma, because I mean, he's like this charming, chimney sweeping, street sweeping, dancing. He's just like, he has so much energy, he has so much life. He like gets along with basically everyone he knows and sees. And so I think charming, charisma. They're two words that came to mind. Obviously, he has a really good heart too. But Harry Shum Jr. I think fits the bill in that regard. The second one, and I don't know why, but it wasn't Crazy Rich Asians that made me want to like cast him in this role. It was actually Last Christmas, the romantic comedy with Emilia Clarke, but Henry Golding as Bert. I don't know about the singing or dancing part. However, I think he has that just like natural charm that I think you can see in almost any of the versions of Mary Poppins you've seen. So, including the Mary Poppins couple that walks around Disneyland. So, those would be my two for Bert.
For my Michael, I chose Alan S. Kim from Minari. He's just like the most adorable little boy, and there is no other choice. Not enough said. And then for the girl, I'm totally gonna butcher her name. Okay, Malia Emma Tajandrowijaja. I'm so sorry. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but she's a little girl in After Yang. And I think she just like did really well in that role. Also, honestly, I was struggling to think of like kid actors, and she was the first one that came to mind that was a girl.
For me, I also picked Alan S. Kim for Michael. For Jane, I think I aged up a little bit too much because I picked Amanda Steinberg and Stephanie Sue as well. So like, I like how you picked her for Mary Poppins, and I was like, oh, Jane. Amanda Steinberg, she was in the newest Dear Evan Hansen movie, which wasn't good, but she was great actually. She was like probably my favorite part about that movie. Okay, listen, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but it still like wasn't great. Yeah, Amanda Steinberg. She also played Rue in the Hunger Games like a while ago. She's also awesome. Stephanie Sue in Everything Everywhere All at Once. I've been a fan for a sec because she was in Be More Chill, and it was like, I think I like that her role. I was like, oh my gosh, Asians can like not be in Miss Saigon. You know what I mean? Like that was like my whole, I was like, damn, like they just like cast, I don't know, that was cool. That was like the first person in like a non like like ethnic specified role, if that makes sense. And yeah, that was cool. So huge fan of Stephanie Sue.
I think she's in like her 30s or something.
She's 31, yeah. But she looks like she's 17 still. Anyway, she's got a great voice too. Now that I think about it, she'd be a way better Mary Poppins than Jane. I was just like, she's a child. Totally not. She was also, oh my gosh, she was in Shang-Chi. She played like the friend at the very end. You know, like the one where they go to the bar? Yeah, she was in Shang-Chi. Mm-hmm. Yeah. LOL. She just is like ageless. She could be like whatever age. Anyway.
Depends on how you dress her.
Okay, so I also put Alan Kim from Minari on mine, but actually my like dream cast together would be Anna Cathcart Cathcart, I can't read, and then a young Karan Brar, who probably most people know him from Jessie, because when I recast in my brain, I think I usually go for the more sarcastic people possible. I don't know why. I think my brain just like, when I think of doing a new version, like you want to pick a new direction with it, and my brain goes sarcasm and humor and all the fun witty things. So I think them together as siblings would be hilarious. Yeah, they're not the same ethnicity, but I also think that's part of what recasting is. It's like, it's not just going off of, are you the same skin color to build a family? And I mean, you see that with movies and TV shows now. But I think for me, when I was doing my Poppins specifically, that was like I don't want to say like purposeful choice, but there was enough conscious intent behind it where I was like, I think this would be really cool. Also, I specify young Karan Bar the same way people specify young Christian Bale, just because I don't know how old he is now, and he definitely could not play however old Michael is, which is like young, like really young.
For Winifred Banks, I had two options. I had Gugu Mbatha Raw, just because like I like her as an actress and I think she'd be fun, and I just want her to be like in all the things. And then my other choice is Zoe Chow. She was most recently in the After Party. But yeah, I think she's just like also really, I think they both have like a good like fun presence and could pull off that kind of like somewhat zany mom type, but who's like loving but a little like head in the clouds kind of like type of person. So I thought they would both be good options. And then for their husbands, George Banks, I have Sterling K. Brown as one option just because I feel like he has a nice gravitas he could bring, and he can also do comedy well because he was like in Marvelous Mrs. Maisel and did great in that. And then my other option is Randall Park, who can obviously do comedy. I think he could also just bring like a fun energy to a normally very like kind of like boring-ish role.
For Winifred, I put Margaret Cho, which is a repeat from last week, because I think she'd be funny. I don't know, I just want to see her in more things. I think she'd be really good. And then for Mr. Banks, I put Rob Morgan, who was recently in Don't Look Up. He was Teddy, the like that scientist, and Don Cheadle, because I think they both have like really serious like demeanors if they wanted to, but then they're like in these, you know, like Don Cheadle's in Iron Man and it's not all like serious and he can't be like very funny, and so Rob Morgan, and so I thought they like had both. They have like such presence when they like walk into a room, you're like, oh, that man's in charge, but then they like they also have like they can do the comedy part of it too, and so I thought that was, yeah, so those are my two. And then also because I was thinking a little bit about like ethnicity as well, and then because I casted like Amanda Steinberg as Jane, I was like, we should probably have like a mixed like parentage, if that makes sense. But yeah.
The first person who came to mind for George was George. Too many names on my list. George was Daniel Day Kim, and okay, I think he would be a great George. I think he has that like, I think I'm mostly referencing the movie more than maybe the musical version, but I think he has a really like stern demeanor. Like there's a lot of tension, if you will, and I know Daniel Day Kim gets put in a lot of the roles of like the like fatherly figure, stern fatherly figure, so I kind of felt like I was typecasting him in that way, but I think he would be great at it, so that's why we ran with it. Okay, my second choice is 100% cheating, like, but that's because I just finished Bridgerton season 2, and I love how much these two particular people fight. I think it's like so entertaining. So it's why I casted Simone Ashley as Winifred and Jonathan Bailey as George. 100% not Asian, obviously, but I think the relationship would be so strong between George and Winifred, like the fight, like not the fighting, but the butting of heads, in a way that is not just Winifred being a pushover, obviously, because I don't think that would happen in the new version. So I definitely casted them for their screen chemistry, but I was like, I'm gonna run with it. I think it'd be great. And then I actually recasted Philippa Sue as Winifred, also going back to her role in Hamilton. When you think about Eliza at the beginning, I think is kind of where that inspiration came, when she's a little bit more like not fully set in reality. She's an amazing singer.
Yeah, for a lot of these like smaller supporting characters, it's been so long since I've watched the movie that this is really just me referencing their pictures and trying to remember my childhood self-impression of these people. So FYI. Yeah, I had two choices for Katie. I had Diane Doan, who she's in Warrior, and she's also in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I just like think seems cool, and I haven't seen much of her. So I think she'd just be like interesting, and based on the stuff I have seen her, and I feel like she would bring a fun kind of like combative energy to the role. And then my other option is Lucy Liu, just because I like her and I just want her to be in it. And yeah, so that's really the reason. But yeah.
I put in the chat that I wanted to cast Bill Murray because I think that would just be funny, new take on the character. But I ended up going with the Ming-Na Wen because I feel like she would play like the disgruntled kind of like like, oh my gosh, you guys are so ridiculous. And I haven't seen her in a lot of the comedy roles either, and so I think she might be able to do that, or just give her something like new. I was watching after watching Everything Everywhere All at Once, I was watching an interview with Michelle Yeoh, and she was saying like, oh my gosh, like I like leapt at the opportunity to do this movie because it gave her an opportunity to like show that she has like the comedy chops, and she has like every, you know, like she has the multifaceted like skills. And I feel like I'm thinking like, how many other actors feel that way, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, let me give roles to people, you know, whatever. So yeah, so I think being that one could be cool. But she was also in Mulan, so I think she does have a little bit of that like funny kind of vibe.
I'm gonna kind of put two and two together because I would cast both these people interchangeably for either two characters. So for Katie Nana and for Mrs. Brill, I would cast either Liza Koshy, I'm so sorry, or Aquafina. Basically, I just want to put as much like chaos into one scene as you possibly can, specifically the opening scene where you first meet Winifred, when she just comes from the women's voting rights and they have the whole song. I just like want to infuse as much chaos as you can into that because I think it'd be so fun and crazy and wild. I also like think a younger take on both of those characters would be fun, especially both actresses have such brilliant comedic timing. I think they could really liven up those specific roles.
For Mrs. Brill, I just had Sandra Oh as my choice, just because I feel like she'd bring a nice frazzled energy to it.
I put Tsai Chin. She was in the Joylet Club, and then if you watch Wendy Wu Homecoming Warrior, she's a grandma. She's like I think she was also the grandma in Shang-Chi. She plays a lot of grandmas, but like basically, yeah, and she's just like an iconic Asian American actor, and I feel like it'd be fun to see her in this like really classic movie, to just like see her pop up, you know, in any role. And so I think this is Brill. And she's like, I feel like, did you guys know she was also a Bond girl? And it's just cool that she has like such a legacy of work.
For the Bird Woman, I just had one choice, and it was Lisa Liu. She's in Crazy Rich Asians and in numerous other things. But yeah, I was just like honestly struggling to like find like an older non-white actress, like since like originally it was like played by an older woman. And so like she was kind of the like first one that came to mind, or like only one kind of that came to mind. Because like if you ever look up or Google like actors in their 70s or 80s, they're all like white, and then you got a few like black guys, but the women are pretty much all white. So yeah, I think it'd be just like nice to like give her this role as well. Also, once again, she was like kind of all I could think of. I was like, who's that grandmother from Crazy Rich Asians? So
this is like a weird association, but I put Aquafina because she's playing Scuttle in the new like Little Mermaid. And I was like, bird woman, Aquafina. I don't know why. That was like kind of my only reason for that choice. But I also think she could bring like a fun, like chaotic energy.
I also struggled to think of significantly older Asian American actresses. I went back to Minari, and I'm so sorry if I butcher this, but Yoon Yoo-jung, the grandmother, I think she would be a great bird woman. I think she'd bring a lot more maybe groundedness to the role that it originally is written as, which I kind of like that. I think she just brings so much groundedness as an actress. So I think it'd be really cool for that role. And a bit of a twist on it. But also, yes, it was hard to think of someone for this role.
So for Mr. Dawes Sr., since like in the original film, Dick Van Dyke just played both Bert and that role, I just cast Justin Min and Harry Shum Jr. as Mr. Dawes Sr. Because, you know, why not just put some old age makeup on them and they can hop on the table and dance. So those were my options. And then for Mr. Dawes Jr., I chose Daniel Day Kim because I feel like previously mentioned, he has that just like kind of gravitas and like energy. I think would be good for the role, because I originally had thought of him for like George Banks, but I already had multiple options. So I was like, I'll just shift him over to this other businessman-y role.
For Dawes Sr., I put George Lopez. I've seen him and stuff in a while, and I just feel like he's great in anything. And so I think that'd be funny just to like see him. And then for his son, I put Michael Pena. I like personally think they could like play like relatives at least, you know. I feel like they have this like similar looks and like styles of acting. I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, I think they would play a really good like son and father kind of situation. But yeah, those were my choices.
Mr. Dawes Jr., my first thought was Ken Jeong. I think it'd be so good. I think it'd be chaotic. And for Mr. Dawes Jr., I picked Randall Park. If you can tell, all my casting choices are like, let's put as much chaos as we possibly can into the scenes. But actually another actor who came up for either one of those roles is Kumail Nanjiani. I think he has great comedic timing. And I think he honestly can play older, and I think he can play younger too. So I think you could cast him into either one.
So that has been our recasting of Mary Poppins. Let us know in the comments below who you would recast, what you think of our ideas, if they're trash, if they're not trash. So please let us know what you think. But like, obviously, catch us next time for part 3 of Recasting the Classics. We don't know what we're going to do yet, but we will tell you and let you know. You can also
That's why
below which classics you'd like us to see recast. And yeah, we'll catch you on the flip side. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And follow us on Instagram.
So you know what we're gonna do next.
For some peak content on your feed. Thanks for watching. Have a nice rest of your day or night, whatever time you're watching this at. Bye.